Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. So today I'm going to be reading pages 18 and 19. I'll go ahead and get the sentence restarted though. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Ariak, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served in the Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him came and attacked the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzim and Ham, the Emim and Shava Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their mountain of Seir as far as El Paran, which is by the wilderness. Then they turned back and came into in Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and attacked all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who dwelt in the Hazazon Tamar. And the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, went out and joined together in the battle in the valley of Siddim against the Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of nations, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Ariak, king of Elasar. 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of asphalt pits, and the king of Sodom and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. Some fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. Then they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their provisions, and went their way. They also took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, the Amorite brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and they were allies with Abram. Now when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants. What's it mean? Think of Abram, who later became Abraham, as a tribal chief. The people under his command weren't all his immediate relatives, but they were loyal to him. Some of the men in Abram's tribe were trained warriors. Genesis 14:14. Were born in his own house and went in pursuit as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, and he and his servants attacked them and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley, after his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him. What's it mean? Melchizedek, whose name means king of righteousness, is mentioned only 2 other times in the Bible, once in Psalms and once in Hebrews. Take away the first 4 letters of Jerusalem, and you have Melchizedek's hometown. Salem is another name for Jerusalem. Genesis 14:18. Abram and Melchizedek. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was the priest of God Most High, and he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him a tithe of all. Now the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the persons and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand to the Lord, God Most High, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will take nothing from a thread to a sandal strap. and that I will not take anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me. And there Eshcol and Mamre, let them take their portion. God's covenant with Abram. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, Do not be afraid, Abram, I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward. Protection. Who will protect me? 15:1. But Abram said, Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus? Then Abram said, Look, you have given me no offspring. Indeed, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, This one shall not be your heir, but one who will come from your own body shall be your heir. Then he brought him outside and said, Look now toward heaven, and count the stars if you are able to number them. And he said to him, So shall your descendants be. And he believed in the Lord, and he accounted it to him for righteousness. Then he said to him, I am the Lord, who brought you out the Ur of Chaldeans to give you this land and to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, how should I know that I will inherit it? So he said to him, Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. Then he brought all of these to him and cut them in two down the middle and placed each piece opposite the other. But he did not cut the birds in two. And when the vultures came down on the carcasses, Abram drove them away. Now when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and behold, horror and great darkness fell upon him. Then he said to Abram, Know certainly that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them, and they will afflict them for 400 years. And also the nation whom they serve I will judge. Afterward they shall come out with great possessions. Now as for you, you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried at a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. And it came to pass, when the sun went down and it was dark, that behold, there appeared a smoking oven and a burning torch that passed between those pieces. On the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, To your descendants I have given this land from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites and the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites and the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. What's it mean? God's promise to give the land of Canaan to Abram is one of the most important events in the Old Testament. The modern conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis can be traced back to this promise. As for the mysterious smoking oven and burning torch, we can only assume that they were symbols of the unusual meeting between God and Abram. Genesis 15:17. Hagar and Ishmael. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, and she had an Egyptian maidservant whose name was Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, See now the Lord has restrained me from bearing children. Please go in to my maid. Perhaps I shall obtain children by her. And Abram heeded the voice of Sarai. Then Sarai. What's it mean? For a couple to be childless in Old Testament times was considered a tragedy. Children were seen as a sign of God's blessing. Without a son, there would be no one to carry the family's name or take care of the family's properties and possessions. Sarah's servant could not have refused the sleeping arrangement. Female servants were expected to bear their master's children if the master's wife could not. 16:2. Genesis 16:2. Abram's wife took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan. Alright, so that's it for this reading this week. I'll see y'all next week. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, or just, found the video interesting. See ya.